Larissa Bear here. Today is my birthday. It's not the day my mom brought me into this world, but it is the birthday of my rebirth or my spiritual awakening, which was April 14th, 2018. So it's been 5 years since I woke up, which is pretty wild. When you first wake up, you feel like you're an infant because you feel like you don't know anything. Because it feels like it's like a whole new world. And you go through all these phases as you're expanding your consciousness and remembering who you really are. And it's just such an amazing process. I just wanted to take a few minutes and reflect on it publicly so that other people can kind of relate. And if you're just waking up, or if you've been awake for a little while and you're not really sure what's going on, or you just want to hear other perspectives, I just wanted to share. So it's been a wild ride. I had an overnight awakening back in 2018. Apparently April is a very transformative month for me most of the time. 5 years running. I'm not sure what the heck I'm doing this year, but last year was big transition, March into April. 2019 was a big year. Just lots of times, lots of interesting things going on for me in April, where I really takes a big moment to move me through some things. So, so it's been an interesting ride. I definitely went through a dark night of the soul right before I woke up. It was very challenging, and it was scary for a minute because I really sank into this deep depression right before I woke up. And before that, though, I was kind of depressed for probably a couple of years. Really didn't know my purpose. I didn't feel seen. Which turns out is a big inner child issue for me. And I just felt like I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing. And so I was seeing a therapist, and she recommended this book for me called Lucky Bitch. And I've posted about it and shared with some of you before. And in that book, she highly recommends you make a declarative statement that you're ready to change. And whenever you're trying to manifest something, or you're really committing to something, you always want to feel it in your heart, right? And so instinctively, that's what I did. I really felt into my heart. And, you kind of say, I'm ready to change. And in my mind, and when I think back on it, I even kind of thought I said, universe, I don't know what I'm freaking doing. Take the wheel, because I got no clue. Clearly whatever I'm doing is not working. So help me out, And amazing things started happening. I got offers for my dream job. Someone called me out of the blue and offered me a dream job, which was to work with children, work as a special education attorney for children with emotional disabilities. I got a job working for kids who are in juvenile probation. So and another job for kids in foster care. So exactly the type of kids I wanted to work with. I got exactly those types of positions. And, but in the meantime, my anxiety was building. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like I would be able to do the job. And it was giving me, like I said, a lot of anxiety. And the depression just got worse. And I continued seeing my therapist. And one day it was April 13th, she suggested we meditate. And she did it, I think I'd resisted meditating with her up until that point. And she rang her little meditation bell, and I sat there, and I felt so deeply uncomfortable in my body. So uncomfortable. It was painful just to be in my body. And I was like, oh no, what is happening to me? And I cried so hard, and I cried all day. And leading up to that, my thoughts were just cycling constantly. It's, honestly, even in the past, I've been embarrassed to talk about it because you think I'm going crazy, and repeating thoughts. And then that day, I actually started having suicidal thoughts after that visit to the therapist. And, fortunately for me, I was able to have the mental space and know-how to say, no, we're not doing that. I'm telling myself, we're not doing that. I have kids who need me. I have a husband. My life is good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to do that. Like, no. But the pressure was still there. So I ended up reaching out to a friend who recommended that I meditate more and listen to Eckhart Tolle. And they gave me the exact advice that I needed. And I listened to Eckhart Tolle that night as I was going to sleep. I downloaded it on Audible. And he talks a lot about, and I'm just going to paraphrase because I haven't read him in a while. I like consumed everything about his work, like for like 6 months or so. And even went to go see him in November of 2018. But and then I kind of like realized some of it didn't resonate for me so much anymore, but it was a huge building block for me, and hugely transformative. And, I was listening to him and he's talking about the pain body and mindfulness and becoming the observer of your own thoughts and everything. And I just kind of realized like that I was just holding on to all this pain and I didn't need to. And he also described what it was like to wake up. And so funny enough, the next morning when I woke up, I felt completely changed and completely different. And to the extent that I even like took pictures of myself because I looked different and I felt so different. And that's actually how I keep track of when my awakening was, because I have pictures from that day. So, and I just started to like realize that I could make different choices for myself. And I didn't have to do things like a certain way. And then also interestingly, like time like slowed down, like my observation of time slowed way down. And it just felt lighter and fresher and newer. And like I said, like, you know, when you first wake up, you kind of feel like an infant because you kind of feel like you don't know what you're doing, you know? And then also kind of interesting though, I also felt like I was 17 or 18 again. And so like I said, just felt fresh and like full of life. And in regular time, I just was 35. So it's just interesting. And I've been on this just huge journey since then. And I have probably gone through little ego deaths and rebirths probably a half dozen times. Most of them not as dramatic as that, and certainly not as like out of control, if you will. But like definitely some big ones. And a huge part of my process has been learning how to be with that pain and be with grief, and learning how to nurture my inner child and developing my psychic abilities. I learned that I can read the Akashic records. I can do all sorts of healing stuff that's cool. I can, you know, see dead people sometimes. I know some people can see them all the time or nearly all the time, but I mostly just sense them. So just all sorts of interesting transformations have taken place, and including, you know, changing relationships, losing friends, gaining new ones, losing new friends, gaining new ones again, and even, you know, being on my own sometimes. I've learned how to work with my chakra system. I've also learned how to let go of new things that I've learned since waking up, which is kind of a wild thing too. One of the things that is really cool for me, and I think a lot of people do have this, is I have a really great power of discernment. And I'm able to really listen to things and decide whether or not they sound true. And it allows me to avoid some of the trappings of modern spirituality and beliefs that are, or even old spirituality, and limiting beliefs around that you have to be a certain way or do things a certain way. And instead I kind of do things my own way and, you know, kind of patch together things I've learned along the way through many great teachers who have just been, completely instrumental as well. And that's what's so interesting about this journey. And in fact, that even kind of highlights one of the things that kind of circulates in the spiritual community. Like there's a belief that's out there that everything is within you, which is true, but that you have to heal yourself alone, or that working with other people is completely unnecessary. And I think that's true and untrue. Our souls are not completely alone. We don't work that way. We are this beautiful, intricate, woven network of spirits and souls and beings in this universe. And we are so multifaceted and so multidimensional and so multi-layered. To do it alone wouldn't really be reflective of how you exist in the universe. So that's just one example. And I think it can cause people a lot of, when we kind of align with like one specific belief like that, it can cause a lot of turmoil and difficulty as you're trying to like figure out like, well, how do I do this? And so I guess too, my biggest takeaway is that it really not pays, but like it makes sense most to just follow your guidance, your inner guidance, right? Your inner guidance, your higher self, the universe will bring you what you need when you need it in divine timing. And it's very difficult to wait sometimes, but it happens. So, and I think a lot of times like us, when we're new to being awake and we're new to trying healing and all sorts of things, we want to rush to like heal everything. And that's not really a realistic expectation, but I promise you that your higher self is working on whatever the heck it is that you needed to work on first. And they're bringing that to you. And it just may take time. And no matter how many things you sign up for or how many classes you take or how many books you read or, spiritual memes you buy into, you can't get there any faster than your soul will allow. And you never know what critical experience is waiting for you. And healing is multi-layered. Healing works like in a spiral. So like you may go through a layer. A lot of people talk about it as an onion, but I don't really like to talk about it that way. I think I like it as the spiral, because, the spiral is like moving, it's your energy like moving through time. And so, at different points in time, you might hit certain themes at different times, and everything is astrologically coordinated, which is like super freaking cool too. It's just hard sometimes to get the exact resources and information on how that's going to play out. But I have also figured out that if you knew everything that was going to happen, life would be really fucking boring. So anyway, I just wanted to share, and I'm here if anyone ever wants to talk about any of this sort of stuff. I love it and I live it every day. And I'm hoping to be posting more often. Another huge change that has happened for me, I had help from a couple of teachers helped me open back up to light language, which is something I inherently knew but wasn't actively accessing. And they helped me open back up to that experience. And I'm hoping to be posting more things in light language, which is a huge vulnerability and risk for me because it's weird. But it can be really powerful, and it feels like there's no limit to what that language can do in terms of healing and information and activation and all sorts of things. So, and also speaking of birth, death, and rebirth and everything, I had an experience back in October where a part of me that holds back things that I say died. And I felt like a part of me was dying. And I kept saying, I don't want to speak English anymore. But here I am. I'm still speaking English, but I speak light language too. So I'll offer a little message before I sign off in light language, which is, yes, it's a big deal for me. I've done this a little bit publicly, but it's tough, because I like to think that I'm normal, but I'm a little bit extra normal. So Ashin no gosh, I need the sana yatroi, the shitty sana, Kakatichuna yatra yatra shoy, Akachino, cochuno yandana, the sana catresia, the Ruchino yandra yatresai, Akatachino, the sumokoi, Ikana shan yatra ayala soa, Nina sa yatrasikatresi, Narayatia, or Toroshuno yata sapatanokoya, Tisa catara, Tisa no shina yatra tisara, yo no yatra yamaka, tinaka yatra sana, yatra soy, ikadra samakatari, cotono, o yata sakania ti. Tesuno yatra yata, tisa, taranto sho, toroshu makatriaka, ayatra sinari trisia, toroshuno yatra sakatrisa karai, ayatra hanoa, o shana yatra sak. Ortara shuno cochino yatise, katara sokaya. Ono ayasa tisa katarashianana. Karashina yatrushoa ayatisa yatisaka. Akachanokoa yatina yahaya. Torashaya yatrasoy nakai. Tratare tisa namaka ujanai. Akatesima tarashunopogoisha. Talk to you soon.